This video will illustrate the trigger cocking technique as described in John Ross's novel Unintended Consequences. He described it with a Smith & Wesson revolver, but in my experience it works just fine with the Ruger GP100, and I expect it will work with other double-action revolvers. First and most important, when doing any dry practice, ensure the firearm is in fact unloaded. Remember Rule 1 of Jeff Cooper's 4 rules. Use snap caps or dummy cartridges if you have them, if you need them, if you want them. The Ruger is pretty much indestructible, and you don't really need them. You can dry fire safely most Rugers indefinitely. After clearing the weapon, always keep it pointed in a safe direction. That's Rule 2. And here's where you start breaking Rule 3, which is why we're following Rules 1 and 2. Put your finger on the trigger. Now, there's different ways to do this. Different weapons will have a different feel, a different sequence of sensations as you move the double-action trigger through its mechanism. And people's hands are shaped differently. People's fingers are different licks. So you find the one that works best for you as an individual. But generally, you will pull the trigger back until a certain point. For example, my reference point is when the pad of my finger touches the back of the frame. Now, it's important to note that there are several things going on here. When you pull the trigger, it's cocking the hammer and indexing the cylinder. It's also important that when you do the trigger cocking, the cylinder goes all the way to the next chamber. Right there, that little click, that's the bolt stop going into the notch. That means the chamber's aligned. Now, it's going to happen eventually, but you want that to happen before you stop pulling the trigger. And then you can hover right there before breaking the sear. That way you've got the double action pull. You don't have to cock the hammer separately, which could be a safety issue. Then you can just pull through and finish the pull and fire the weapon. And you can dry practice this over and over, like so. This will also help you practice your double action trigger reset. Another trick for dry firing to improve your accuracy is the penny trick. Take a coin, place it on top of the barrel. The GP100 has a nice flat rib there. Then you aim just like you were firing live rounds, and you dry fire a lot. Dry fire is a very useful training tool. Some people never dry fire. Can't quite understand that. And you dry fire this way without dislodging that coin from the barrel. This helps to develop muscle memory and combat the flinches.